Oh, my name is Jason JROCK Houston, and you're listening to the Destroyer 40. And tonight with us, our guest is guitar player Ronny North. How you doing tonight, Ronny?
Hey, man, great to chat with you, man.
Yeah. Now I know what a huge Kiss fan you are, Ronny, which is why I wanted to interview you for this special. Share with us how you first became a Kiss fan, and what album was it that really first got you into Kiss?
Yeah, boy, it's perfectly right on topic. When I was 13 years old, I got Kiss Destroyer for Christmas.
Wow.
The album.
Wow.
Yeah, and then when I got it, I had no idea who Kiss was or anything. That was my introduction to Kiss.
Mm-hmm.
And I was hooked, blind, and sinker so much that it even made me start playing guitar.
Wow. Now let me ask you, Ronny. When you first time you saw that Destroyer record, or you saw a picture of Kiss or anything, how much of was the visual look that grabbed your attention? Was that what really grabbed your attention? The look?
Oh my God, yeah, it totally did. Like, I was blown away. Like, it took a lot. It was a lot to take in. Like, I was overwhelmed,
mm-hmm.
And then it was, it was my introduction to them musically, visually, everything. And then, like, just by sheer chance, my dad, being the cool dad,
mm-hmm.
took the whole family. We saw them play at the LA Forum like 3 months later.
Wow.
During the Love Cut tour.
Now I'm assuming Ace was your favorite member of the band.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So I wanted to beat him in the worst way, so much so that I started playing music.
Yeah.
Later, I was playing guitar because of Kiss.
Wow. And Kiss is more than just like I've discussed this. Kiss is almost like a religion. I mean, if you just look at the band, knowing nothing about who they are, a lot of people might initially think, oh, they're cartoon characters, and it's kind of interesting. I mean, we're talking about an album that was released 40 years ago, and that album really has stood the test of time. Why do you think that is?
For one, you can say what you will about Kiss, they sold a lot of records.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't have sold a lot of records if they couldn't, provide it musically. That goes well beyond the image. The image definitely was icing on the cake, and it didn't hurt them in this way.
Yeah.
But when it came down to it, man, especially Destroyer. I think Destroyer is where they finally crystallized everything into a formula. Like, when they figured out where to go, they knew it. They finally figured out their direction. Because before then, they weren't really selling records.
Yeah, and I think really the secret ingredient there was.
Live 2 just came out right before it, and that was it. That was their breakthrough record. But the 3 records, 2 records before that, so nothing. Yeah,
I really think with Destroyer, the secret ingredient, I really got to say, I think was Bob Ezrin. Yeah.
It's Ezrin. Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, because you can hear all that Alex Cooper type stuff in Destroyer, and I'm reading I got the book now. Like, I got the book for Valentine's Day of the making of Destroyer, which is amazing.
And did you learn?
Amazing story.
Did you learn anything reading that book that you didn't know beforehand?
No, not really. There's some technical things in there, about how they created the sound and stuff like that. But I pretty much knew most of the stories, including bringing in other guitar players to play stuff. Yeah,
and now of course when we were growing up, that all those little secrets weren't really well known. It's a pretty well known fact that Ezrin brought in Alice Cooper's guitar player Dick Wagner to play on a few tracks. Knowing what you know now, Ronny, does that really change your opinion of the album, or do you think, they should have just waited till Ace was?
It doesn't, you know what I mean? But it's kind of a weird thing to do. But that's rampant. Back then too. That was a really rampant thing. Like, it's not like Kiss is the only one that's ever done that. Lots of people were doing it way before then.
Yeah.
So you just gotta. And to this day, like I know, I'm in the industry. I know lots of major bands that film into records where the guys you see on the pictures aren't the guys that are playing on the record.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting because I almost respect what they were trying to do. Kiss had, like we said, but they had this thing with it was only supposed to be those 4 guys, and I really respect that the band. I kind of have a feeling the band was trying to protect that image. They didn't want anybody to know that there were problems with Ace or that he had a drinking problem. They were trying to look out for their brother and the image of I think everybody involved.
Which they have stuck to this day, man. It became a thing.
Yeah.
It's a whole. It's bigger than the guys in the band now. It's a whole. It's a marketing thing. Which is really bizarre. Which is another. Which is a whole other battle in itself. I'm all about. When I say Kiss, I'm all about letting the original 4 guys.
Yeah.
No offense to the new guys,
yeah.
But Kiss. me is those four original guys.
And so,
With makeup.
yeah. So, what do you think? I mean, like I said, it's amazing that those four images, those four iconic images, have really taken on a life of their own, where they're almost bigger than any one person in the band. I mean, it's kind of amazing. I mean, the way they just put Tommy and Eric, in that makeup and.
Yeah, see, I have a problem with that. It's not that I have a problem with Tommy. I know Eric.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I have a problem with the guys. And I don't blame them either, because
yeah.
He and Paul are awesome. So, I mean, I felt like they are doing something. I just think if you're going to put them in the band, like, just give them their own image, even though I can see how Paul and Keith want to keep, something, consistency of the image or whatever for the guy. But, I mean, I just think that's a little shady to me. But, it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, on one hand, I got to hand it, because I don't think they're trying to fool anybody, because they're not trying to make anybody think necessarily that Ace and Peter are still in the band. But
see, that's the thing, they're not.
Yeah.
Not. But like kids now that go see Kiss, like something next weekend, like they don't know this.
Yeah.
You were around when it originally happened.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of I don't know. It's just so subjective. It is what it is.
Yeah.
At least you can still see Kiss play to this day.
Yeah.
Better than not see Kiss, I guess.
Now let me ask you. Going back to Destroyer, when you first picked up that album and first gave it a spin, what was the first song you heard? Do you remember?
I just started right from Detroit Rock City all the way through, man. Like, I just tried one. I just played, I just played it nonstop. I literally, once I got on Christmas morning, I just played it from end to end. And actually, I was listening. I have it on CD now.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like, I was just listening to it the other day in the car, a couple days ago, when I was on the way to the studio for mix my own record, and it still holds up to this day.
Yeah. What amazes me, if you look at just that one album, the majority, a lot of the songs in the Kiss set list still today are off of that album.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a powerful record.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just the production, the guitar sound great. Like, it's but I mean, that just goes to show the genius of Ezra.
Yeah, I mean, to me, he was.
Kids that he's formulated. He really fine-tuned them, and I mean, it goes into the book about all the pre-production rehearsals they were having to get everything really, really tight.
Yeah.
Ezra's a musician himself.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard stories about it in regards to Ezra, and like when Peter presented Beth, it wasn't really what it is today, and Ezra got a hold of it, and he did his magic, and he kind of changed some of the lyrics.
Yeah, there's a whole thing about that too, and he totally orchestrated it. It was nothing like it ended up being.
Yeah. In regards to Beth,
I don't even know.
Yeah.
I mean, does Ezra have writing credit on that? Like, I don't even.
Oh yeah. He's actually, that's the point I was trying to make on that album and a couple other ones that he was involved with. Besides a producer, he's a songwriter and he's a musician. I know he played some piano and stuff on that, I think. But he's actually a credited songwriter.
Piano, like on a lot of songs have keyboards on them. Like, people don't know that.
Yeah. And then even
including Detroit Rock City, piano, like the basic guitars.
And then even I even heard that his son David Ezrin, who went on to become a pretty famous keyboard player in his own right, that played a few years with Lita Ford and I think Rainbow. He actually was one of the kids that sang on the on the choir.
Oh, he's one of the little. They got the boys' choir. He was in the boys' choir.
Yeah, that's what I've heard over here. So it's kind of interesting.
I wouldn't know. He said even in his book it said that he would have his kids in the studio like during a lot of times they were recording. So I mean that would make sense.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting because in regards to Beth, I've heard stories over years that Gene and Paul kind of initially they didn't think they were a band for ballads, and they kind of laughed when Peter was in there doing his vocal, and they had to kick them out. But it's kind of amazing that that went on to become one of the biggest hits ever they had.
No, that's their only big hit ever.
Yeah.
That's their highest charting hit to date.
Yeah. And then I guess their next highest charting hit would have been Forever, like 10 years later, I think.
Yeah, but I mean, it didn't even get close to it. But I mean, that was, I think, got up to like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Forever was. I don't think it even got top 20. I mean, it got in the top 100, but it didn't even get not even the same. Galaxy, but
and
also a great song too. Forever's a great song too.
Yeah, and another great song I really think stands out, of course, is God of Thunder. Now, I don't know if Ronnie, I'm sure being the Kiss fan you are, you may have, if you got the Kiss.
I know who wrote that. It was before he got it.
Yeah, Paul Stanley, and actually, if you got the Kiss box.
Basically, Paul Stanley making fun of how Gene writes his songs.
Yeah, and actually, if you got the Kiss box set, there's a demo version with Paul doing the original lead vocal, and I guess Ezrin had told him, you know what?
Really? I didn't know that. Yes, I mean, he did demo it. They demoed those songs. I mean, I have them, actually, the box set is sitting on my dining room table right here.
Yeah. If you go and listen to it, if you go through it later, there's a version of Paul of God of Thunder on there, with the Paul lead vocal, and the story I heard about that was Ezrin heard it and he dug the song, but he thought, you know what, that's a Gene song, and it's kind of amazing because after they recorded the Gene version, he's now known as the God of Thunder.
Yeah, he created his whole persona. Yeah, Paul did.
Yeah.
How weird is that?
Yeah. And you know, kind of off subject here, but also on that box set, there's this other great tune. It's an unreleased song from like the Creatures of the Night era. I think it's called "It's My Life," and I never understood why they didn't release that.
Yeah, I actually heard that. That is actually a really good song. So, I mean, I'm a big fan. See, that's the thing too. Like, I love the Kiss and the Makeup, only. But I mean, I love Creatures of the Night.
Mm-hmm.
That was right when they were switching over. I don't think Ace is even on Creatures of the Night at all. I think it's all Vinny.
Well, it's actually a couple guys.
It's a few people. Like my friend Doug Aldrich played on it too. So like, they were using that to audition guitar player.
Oh, it's that's kind of funny because I never actually heard that he played on it. I've heard stories where that him and supposedly I heard Doug auditioned for Kiss at one point. I heard stories around that time Richie Sambora and even Robin Crosby went on to join Rat. That these were three guys that auditioned but didn't really get the gig.
No, the guy from what's his name? Saris?
Okay.
Mr. Guitar Player did some solos. Doug did some solos. Yeah, I think Vinny did one or two.
Yeah, I know Vinny. I think
there's somebody else.
Well, I heard the guy from Mr. Steve Ferris, and believe it or not, Bob Kulick supposedly played on some of it.
Yeah, but Bob Kulick has played on Kiss records before.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all know that. I mean, all the way from the beginning of it. Because Bob Kulick was almost Ace Frehley.
Yeah. Yeah, and
you went to school with those guys. I mean, he was a Kiss before Ace was a Kiss.
Yeah, and you know, an interesting thing about Ezrin too, he also produced years later the Revenge album. Interestingly enough, when Ace was no longer even in the band, I guess he didn't like the way Bruce was playing some of the stuff, and he brought the same guy, Dick Wagner, in to do a couple of the solos.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So if you go later,
I love that record. That's a great record too. That sounds very Destroyer-esque as well, but of course.
And again, I think that's the magical Ezrin touch, because if you put Destroyer and Revenge, right.
No, they're related for sure, man. I mean, other than being both kids, I mean, you could hear. So that's like the modern Destroyer.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the other great thing about Destroyer that I really dug from the first time I heard it. I love back in the day when Gene and Paul used to do their co-lead vocal thing together, and then once they did Revenge years later, they went back to that, and that's what made that such a great rockin' album, because they went back to doing what they did best.
Yeah, they used to switch off back and forth in the same song, and they like to call them sponsoring stuff.
And
you're right.
And they even started co-writing stuff together again, and I think it was too much, in the maybe in the 80s and early 90s they was trying to do too busy trying to do their own thing, but like Revenge is a perfect example of that. They just stick with what they, and that even on Revenge, if you look at a tune like God Gave Rock and Roll to You, I mean that could have easily appeared on Destroyer, I think.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great version of that song actually. They kind of revamped the cover song and it kind of worked.
Yeah.
Sounds like a Kiss song.
Yeah. And we talked about Beth earlier. I was curious, as a Kiss fan, Ronnie, what did you think when they recut it for Smashes, Thrash, and Hits, and they had Eric do the lead vocal?
Yeah, that's a travesty. Don't even get me going on that. I'm sure Eric doesn't talk to me now for things, but not post we'll both hate Peter Kiss
Yeah.
remarks from an interview. Like, that's serious. Yeah, I mean, and, you know, God bless him, whatever. I think Gary's an amazing drummer, and I just think Derek before, you know, he's a cool guy. But,
Yeah.
and I see how they do it live, the show, because everybody wants to see that, so I get it. But, like, re-recording it, like, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And once again, it's not his fault.
Yeah.
Like, I don't blame Eric, no, he's a hired employee.
Yeah, I mean, there was a whole controversy I remember about that at the time, and I even remember hearing interviews where Eric said, you know, he goes, before I'd even record it, I called Peter to make sure it would be all right with him, and he was like, oh yeah, man, just whatever. But you know, Gene and Paul want to do it for whatever reasons, I guess. So they'd have a.
I've seen a Kiss show where Eric sings that. So
Yeah.
I mean, I've actually seen it.
Well, yeah. Well, I will say this in regards to Eric Singer. One thing I love about him being in Kiss, besides him being such a phenomenal drummer, is before he joined Kiss, nobody had an idea that this guy could sing. And I don't know if you've ever had a chance to hear, maybe about 10 years ago, he put out this CD with John Corabi and Bruce Killa called the Eric Singer Project. There's a bunch of cover tunes, but man, you know, he's got such a great singing voice.
Oh no, he was in Badlands too. I've been seeing Eric Singer play for the last 25 years.
Yeah.
Way before he was a kid.
No, but what I mean is.
He plays guitar too. I mean, I don't know if you know that.
Oh yeah, wow, I didn't know that, but yeah, I mean he
collects vintage guitars.
Wow. And so now, Ronny, I got to ask, in regards to you, I know you've been very busy, and I recently, like a lot of people, got a chance to see the Quiet Riot movie, which you're included on some of the bonus footage.
That is so funny. I was just with Kelly Rose 2 days ago. We were just talking about that, and neither of us have seen it yet. I see the Quiet Riot movie on cable.
Yeah.
You know, and I've seen Frankie about 20 times in the last 3 months, but you know, I haven't seen I keep getting all these. I was telling him, and Kelly was telling me the same thing. I've been getting tons of emails from fans that are buying it because we're on the bonus features of the DVD.
Yeah, see, a lot. When you see it on TV, a lot of times they don't include the bonus features. But I got to tell you, man, I was shocked that you were part of it. I had no idea, but I got to ask you. Obviously, you're friends with Kelly Rhodes, who is Randy's.
Yeah, no, I am. We're, you know, as Kelly was telling me Saturday, like, you know, we're family.
Yeah.
I'm really close with the Rhodes family. So I was with them. You know, they just had the celebration of his life on Saturday. You know, it was like 30-something years. 30 years that he got died in his finger or something.
Yeah, and now with his mother's recent passing, that they've really got.
Yeah, she was such a nice lady. I was at her funeral too.
Wow.
She was such a cool, so smart. I really enjoyed the times that I got to hang out with her, talk about music and stuff. She was just so intelligent.
Yeah, but I want to ask about the Quiet Riot movie. Okay, obviously you're friends with the Rhodes family, but whose idea was for you guys to do that? Because I know a while back there's a Randy Rhodes tribute CD that came out, and there's a great version of that song you did. I think it's called Back to the Coast, which was a original Quiet Riot.
That was on the show. We did a couple songs. That was on the CD, like on the video. It's Back to the Coast.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that you guys got to do that track because I've gotten to hear some of the stuff Randy did with Quiet Riot. I never knew why they didn't make that stuff more readily available. So I'm glad to see some of that stuff finally getting heard.
Yeah, I mean, there's some good songs. I mean, Randy Rhodes was the first rock star I ever met in my life.
Uh-huh.
I met him at the Star was in Quiet Riot way before he got Ozzy.
So
13 years old.
So when you got word that Frankie was putting together this movie, whose idea was it for you and Kelly to record some of those songs, or
Well, that all came from I don't even know if people. I mean, I'm sure people know. Like, God, 2000. I think it was probably 2010. I don't even remember when we did it. Kelly Rhodes and Kelly Garney had this great idea of doing a tribute to Randy way before they're told those Rhodes, there's what they call the thing now, where everybody else with the rock stars play Randy Rhodes stuff.
Yeah, the thing with Brian Tishy, I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, whatever it's called, like, the Randy Rhodes tribute thing or whatever it's called. Those two had an idea about doing like a tour, doing like the classic Quiet Riot and like Randy Rhodes stuff, and Randy Rhodes Ozzy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They asked me, some friends with them, to be the guitar player, which I was beyond honored, especially Dolores herself approved me.
Wow.
Yeah, because she was in on the whole decision. Because you kind of had to run it past her.
Yeah.
So her passing, she was kind of running the whole road. Thing. Her and Kathy wrote. Her sister were running the whole thing. So they asked me if I wanted to do it, and I was beyond floored. Wow, I didn't pretty much ask anybody.
Yeah.
I had just never, Kelly, like a couple years before that, he was telling me when I was doing the opening green thing, because of the thing or blah. But so we kept in touch. When they called me and asked me, I was like, yeah. And then, literally a couple months later, we did a tour of Japan.
Wow! How cool is that?
Yeah. We were gonna do some shows, and then they were already talking to the promoter, so they had me. I became the guitar player, and I became the booking agent, like literally within like overnight. So I could, they were talking to the promoter, so we they were interested in doing the whole thing. So we actually did the first Tribute to Randy tour ourselves in 2010.
Wow. And so the thing they do annually every year out here, I think it's called Randy Rhoads Remembered or something like that.
Yeah, Randy Rhoads Remembered. Yeah, man. And God bless him too. The Randy's memory alive. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's about time. I mean, for years people have been, remembering Randy and talking about how great he was, but it's great that they finally got like some kind of annual tribute or something like that to really make people aware of, who this guy was. And the thing that always floored me about Randy was there's no denying what a talent the guy was, but when you stop to think about it, there's only really those two Ozzy albums that most people have heard, and the guy left such a huge legacy.
There's the two Quiet Riot records.
Yeah. But that I really love that you and Kelly got to do that, because when I was watching the bonus footage,
we did the thing, and then I don't know, I was like shortly after that. They filmed that footage forever ago.
Yeah.
Maybe a year after that or 6 months after that, Frankie got a hold of us, and he wanted to know if Regina, his wife, who made the movie, produced and made the director of the movie, could come out and film us, doing, one of the classic Quiet Riot songs.
Yeah, and it's so cool because a lot of people have never heard that song, and even when they put out that tribute CD about a year or so ago, I thought, wow, it's great. We got all these Ozzy tunes that everybody's heard on this tribute CD, and then they got this thing from Quiet Riot, which I don't think a lot of people have heard. So I thought that was really a great a great thing to do, and it's really a classic sounding
cool song.
Yeah,
but it's a different thing. It's more poppy than metal. It's not definitely not Ozzy. It's more poppy or.
Oh yeah.
But, you got these pop songs. Randy comes in blaring away like crazy. Did his own thing.
Yeah, I mean even.
But it was a different Randy. It was so cool that we got to do one of those songs, and we did a bunch of lyrics. Man, we did like a bunch of the classic Quiet Riot songs. Pre-Metal Health. Because Quiet Riot with Metal Health, amazing as it was, it had nothing to do with Randy.
Yeah, I mean the amazing thing. I've heard the original, one of the original tunes Randy actually did with Quiet Riot. People may be surprised is they'd recorded an earlier version of Slick Black Cadillac that I think was on the first or the second album.
We did that in Japan too. Yeah, no, I remember that from the start with it.
Yeah. And see, Quiet Riot, when Randy's time in Quiet Riot, I've heard a lot of stuff, and it's quite, like you said, it's not really what I would call full blown on metal. It's more poppy, kind of pop rock stuff.
It's like a hard rock pop.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool, but it's not like anything odd.
Yeah, definitely. And one of my favorite tunes from that time, I gotta say, is "Picking Up the Pieces." I don't know if you've ever heard that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So, I have the early records.
And let me ask you, Ronny. Now, did you? Randy was a hero of yours, but you never got the opportunity to meet him or anything, right?
No, I met you. He was the first rock star I ever met.
Okay. Yeah. I think.
He was 14 years old. He was tiny like me. He was only like 5'5" or something. He was absolutely awesome.
Yeah, and the cool. I mean, I've never met the guy. I've only like a lot of people. I've only read, listened to his music and read stories about him. But even in watching that Quiet Riot movie, one thing that was really obvious about the guy is what a loyal guy and what a loyal guy he was. Like, I heard the story about where Kelly Garney talks about he wanted to fire Kevin Dubrow from a band, and Randy's like, no, we're not going to do it, and he was the one that ended up getting fired.
Yeah, but Garney was fired for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
We almost didn't have a Randy before we didn't have a Randy.
Yeah. And I was wondering, did you ever?
You told me that story too.
Yeah. Did you ever get a chance to meet Kevin?
No, several times.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I opened, being a strip band, playing on the strip, I opened for, Bro and, the early versions of Quiet Riot with him and Carlos and everybody before they got signed. So, and even after he got fired, when he had that band Little Women, which was the original name of Quiet Riot, Quiet Riot.
Oh, wow. Oh, okay, there's a little...
I just found out recently, Kelly just told me that recently, I never knew that. I always thought that was a really weird name when, Kevin had the band, that's why he had it. That's what they were going to call Quiet Riot.
Yeah, because I know, I know in regards to Little Women, that's the famous, they made it in a movie, it was a famous literature book or something from years ago, and I remember when he initially...
Yeah, that was Randy's idea. Randy was dead set on calling it Little Women for some reason, so maybe it was Buck's book.
Yeah, but I remember what you're talking about, because at the time when Kevin was fired back in the 80s from Quiet Riot, when they did that album with Paul Shortino, he did have a band around LA called Little Women, and then I remember...
Yeah, he had a band, I think we opened for him a few times during that time, he was in LA.
Wow, and then I remember him and Carlos got back together, and then they eventually got Frankie, so they renamed it Quiet Riot.
Yeah, in the mid-90s, they managed to get the original guys all back together. So Carlos, Rudy, Frankie, and him together. But of course, it didn't last very long.
Yeah.
For various reasons. Everybody had just moved on at that point.
Yeah. And so now you're telling me before we start doing this interview tonight that you're currently working on some new music. So what can you tell us about that?
Yes, I am putting the final mixes on my new album, which is going to be called Substantially Less Fun. And we're actually I've been looking over album art to see what it's going to look like. We're still at that thing. But my new single, $7 Cool, we let it out a month and a half ago, I think. Released it a nice CD stuff, and it's actually selling.
Wow.
I see the statements are wow. But, nowadays, it's people are really listening to it on those music subscription things where I get a 25th of a cent every time somebody downloads it.
So let me ask you, as a musician, Ronny, do you make more money when people download the music versus buying a physical CD?
I make more money when they buy a physical CD.
Oh, okay.
That whole downloading thing is killing us conditions, but it's a double-edged sword because for that reason, people that would normally not be known around the world, people like myself in LA, are getting heard from all over the place. I was at the Randy Rhoads thing on Saturday, and I was meeting people from Japan and stuff, that are Ronny North fans.
Wow.
I toured there once, but how else was fans? You didn't have the whole internet and everything else to help you.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm great at that.
In regards to the new CD, do we have a release date or anything yet, or is that something that's...
Yeah, I think it's gonna be late spring. We're literally we're within probably a week at most of being completely done. So it's I'm just doing final tweaks now. So it's all the major work is done already.
And you got...
I'm looking forward to doing it probably before Memorial Day weekend for sure.
Oh wow!
So I want to have it out so I can sell it at my shows.
Wow, and so you've got the same guys in the band that you've been working with all these years?
I do. Yeah, I actually do. I have Dave Good on drums. Who also plays with he slums it with me, and he plays drums with Bobby Kimball from Toto.
Oh.
Yeah, he's also plays with Frank Marino, from Mahogany Rush.
Wow.
He's their drummers too. So when he's not playing with them, he comes and plays with me and records with me. And then I have Brian Talbot, who's been in the band, my bass player forever. So yeah. And
so how many tunes are on the new record? Have you got that all ironed out yet?
No, we recorded 15. I'm going to put 10 on it.
Oh, cool.
And 15 were actually tracked. So I don't know what those other ones are going to including a bunch of acoustic songs. So I don't know where those are going to end up, but they were actually recorded. So they might end up on something else later on down the line, or something.
And so touring,
it's going to be awesome.
And touring wise, once the album hits, you think we'll get a lot more shows down?
It's funny you mentioned that. Yes, we are looking to do. We're going to be doing some fairs, and we might be joining some people for some opening spots here and there, on the road. And actually, I was literally minutes before you called me, I was actually having that conversation right now about doing some stuff in Arizona with a big artist, and I can't really talk about.
Okay. Oh,
Before I picked up the phone from you, I was on that phone call to Phoenix.
wow. How cool is that? Now, I know when you recorded your last album, and I think it was Inertia, you shared with me when I was talking at the time that what a nightmare recording was, because a lot of the tracks had gotten erased, and you had to go back.
Oh, you have a good memory. Yeah, that was Inertia was the first record that I made fully with Pro Tools. Like I had just got Pro Tools right before I got it, and I was still figuring it out. And literally the night before we were going to start mixing, which was the eve before Thanksgiving, actually, we lost 95% of the tracks.
Wow. And so
literally, like you would go through the files of the song, where it'd be like a snare drum and a bass on one, and the other song would have like a bass and like a one melody guitar. Like there was 2 or 3 things like on each track, and like the other 45 tracks per song were gone.
Yeah. Wow. And so
I basically had to record the whole thing.
So compared to the recording of Inertia, was this time around much easier?
It was. We did have some technical glitches. Like there was something. I mean, Pro Tools is a whole other thing. But that's very evil. Yeah, we had some Pro Tools issues. We didn't lose track. Their internal clock got messed up. When the internal clock gets messed up in Pro Tools, I think it's technical for anybody. It alters the speed of the music.
Yeah. Now I was curious the way
the songs got tweaked in the computer, so they were coming back faster and a higher key than they were supposed to be.
Okay, now
they fixed it, so we were able to save everything. So
wow. Now I was curious. The way you track things, does each guy kind of go and record their parts separately, and then you piece the whole thing together? Is that how you do it?
Yes. Basically, my whole process is like I write the song, I demo them with the drum machine. You know, there's a drum machine and he's playing all the other parts. You know, keyboard, bass, guitars, whatever. And then I give it to them to learn, and then I have them come in individually. First we have Dave come in with drums, we track drums first, and then we lay everything on top. And he's playing to the drum machine, so he's got like a quick track at the same time.
Okay.
And then, you know, he's a solid guy, and that usually takes, you know, he goes right through them, and it's the joy of, you know, working with such great musicians. It doesn't really take. It takes more time getting the right sounds than the performance out of them. So good. So.
Now I've seen you perform live a couple times. You've invited me to come down to your show, and I got to tell people, you know, you put on an awesome show. But I got to ask, being the huge Kiss fan you are, being influenced by Ace and that, do you think being a Kiss fan has had any influence on you as far as like when people come to see a live Ronny North show, they're going to get a great.
Oh no, that's a really good question. You really do your homework. That's why I like always looking at the you, but you're not. You know.
Oh, that's great.
You do your research before you get on the.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people do things. No, it has a major because once I got the disc record later. Like I'm thinking of the LA Forum in '77 at the pinnacle of their fame. So I mean that's when they had the big stage and those big elevator things coming down and the fire, the drumstick going 200 feet in the air and everything. And my life was never the same after that, you know. And there's nothing worse than paying good money to go see a show, be it be like a local guy or a recording it, and they just stand there.
Yeah, and you know.
That is the worst thing in the world. You could just put the record on and stare at the poster.
Yeah, and you know, no offense here, Ronny, but you know, to some people, Ronny North may not be up there like with a guy like Steve Vai, but let me tell you, anybody that's followed your career, like I said, you put out great, awesome music, put on a great live show, and I think if anybody took the time like to go on your Facebook page or any of your websites, like one thing that I right away noticed is actually two things. I noticed that green guitar, and then you have a Randy Rhoads type guitar, and
I totally do.
Those are two things that people always associate with you. So I was curious. Obviously, being influenced by Randy, I get that you have a guitar that looks like his. But how did you come up with the design for the green guitar?
When we were designing, my signature guitar a few years ago, I designed it specifically, and I had some worrying of what color to make it and everything. And I've always, kind of liked green. It was my favorite color, but I always had something for green. I'm like, you know what, I'm going to make a green guitar. And at that time, like, everybody was trying to talk me out of it. They were all trying to make it like blue or something. Like, nobody got it.
Yeah,
like even the manufacturers. But I'm like, it's gonna be green. You know, if it doesn't work out, we can always retain it, or another one. So I'm like, I'm gonna go with green.
Yeah.
And people just took to it immediately.
Again, don't take this the wrong way, but I think you definitely made a smart decision there. I'll tell you why. Very much like I think Vinnie Vincent tried to, go with that pink flying V. Maybe that was his color or whatever.
I love Vinnie Vincent. We were just talking about it.
But I think green definitely works because it stands out. It's one of those colors that really stands out. People take notice of it.
I mean, but pink, you're in danger of being dated really quickly. I mean, God bless them and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing screams the 80s like a bright pink guitar. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with being influenced by the 80s, which I'm proud that I am.
Oh, yeah.
But, you got to kind of, stay contemporary. Nobody's going to be serious with a bright pink and silver guitar,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know. I don't even think Vinny plays anymore. But, I wonder what color his guitars are now.
No,
he does.
You know what's sad? What's very sad is he's one of those guys that, and everybody I guess that's ever worked with guys pretty much said this, that very talented guy, but he kind of really, in a lot of ways shot himself in the foot several times over. I mean, one thing I can say besides the guy being a gifted guitar player, obviously, is he's such a great songwriter. If you listen to anything, that he did on his solo albums or in Kiss, such great songwriting. But and even that's why when they went back to Revenge, they re-hooked up with him. They said, hey, we want to.
He co-wrote a couple of those songs.
And the thing I think with Vinny and Kiss is, oddly enough, I think that he was kind of, he didn't have as much freedom to do what he wanted inside of Kiss. They were able to put kind of the, if you will, the speed bump, in place. So he didn't really overplay like what he went on to do with his own band, the Vinnie Vincent Invasion. But I think that first...
He was the ultimate replacement Kiss guitar player.
Yeah.
You're not going to... I'm the eighth guy, but you're not going to have me. My first choice would be Vinny. I mean, but I didn't have to work with them,
Yeah.
Story, as they did. But, I mean, he was the ultimate... He had his own persona. He had his own makeup. Did his own thing. He looked great on stage. He fit right in with the other guys. Like, he was the perfect replacement. If there's ever been like a more perfect replacement in a band, when you don't have the original guy.
Yeah, and I do think, because the stories I've heard over the years that the reason, he kind of in around the Creatures time, and he did play on I Love It Loud, I think, and I Still Love You, and a couple other things, the songs he co-wrote. And then once he got to Lick It Up, though, he wrote half of, he co-wrote half of those songs with Gene and Paul, and I think it's kind of amazing because even to this day, Lick It Up really is one of their big comeback albums, at the time, and because that album really outsold Creatures. If you stop and look at what
sales wise it did.
Yeah.
Totally did.
Look, and
that's the thing. Like, I like the music on the record, but I hate the no makeup era. Like, I didn't want Kiss show they didn't have the makeup on. Like, I don't want to see that. You know what I mean? I'm sure they had the reasons. Whatever it is, what it is. I'm glad that it's gone now, but that just wasn't Kiss to me. Kiss, the whole Kiss, you have to have the makeup, you have to have the whole thing. The guy going around in the outfits with no makeup is weird. Yeah,
and the last thing I want to, before I let you go, Ronny, one kind of touch base on is, now I know you said you're friends with Eric Singer, and I was curious, have you ever met Gene or Paul, any of the other guys?
Actually, that's funny you mentioned that. I was just talking about that the other day, too. I met Gene and Paul a bunch of years, but I actually met them again 3 times last year just from being an LA Kid ticket holder.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that's the last thing I want to ask you about, because I know you're telling me that you're a season ticket holder, and I was...
Season starts again in 2 weeks with Kids playing the first show.
Yeah, now oddly enough, you were just saying that, which like a lot of people, that you much more prefer Kiss performing in makeup, but that's kind of going to be a rare performance where they're going to play an unplugged set and just kind of do it
without makeup.
Yeah. And so, how excited are you about getting a chance to experience that?
It should be interesting. I'm not a big fan of anything. Period. No matter who it is. But, it'll be. I've never seen Kiss unplugged. It'll be my first time ever seeing them unplugged.
Yeah.
It should be interesting. But I'd much rather. Last year they played live a couple times, like full makeup for the show, which was awesome. And they did it was during the tour, and I seen them twice on the last tour they just had. Mm-hmm. And they played a completely different set. They opened with Creatures of the Night, which I hadn't seen them do like the 80s. Yeah,
that's the cool thing about when they do these unplugged shows. They don't necessarily play the typical set. They play a lot of stuff that they don't typically play. I mean, I remember when
they didn't have any of the production. Like they had basically their full costume and everything, but It had the amps, you know, and the stage, but it didn't have the giant spider or anything, you know. And I had seen literally 2 weeks before that. I'd seen
and
San Diego.
Yeah.
The spider and everything.
And I gotta say,
it was fucking awesome. Like, they just went out there and just fucking wailed it. And it was fucking killer. Like, that's the best I've seen them in years.
Yeah, because I gotta tell people that when they did that '95 Unplugged tour, a little convention tour, I got a chance to see them in Burbank, and that was the one where Peter came out and sang "Nothing to Lose" and "Hard Luck Woman" with them, and it was pretty cool because they did stuff like "Hard Luck Woman." They played like Shandy and stuff off of The Elder and Domino.
They did Shandy? Wow.
Yeah, and so that's the cool thing. You might get to see some of those rare tunes performed live, because typically like they only play Shandy like in Australia because it's really big over there.
Well, no, that's the only place where it charted.
Yeah.
It was for some reason it was a hit in Australia. I don't know. It's never been one of my favorite songs.
Yeah.
Not Kids for me, but I mean, the Australian market, that was one of the places that record where they toured because it's actually on the chart.
Yeah, and like I said, Ronny, I've seen you perform live several times, and you put on a pretty rocking show. But you were talking earlier about that you've for some of these tracks that maybe didn't make it onto the album, you recorded some acoustic tracks. I was curious, have you ever had the inkling to want to do like a acoustic show or something like that?
Once again, Jason, you are so on things. Yeah, I've been wanting this for a while, and I have a bunch of acoustic tracks recorded already.
Wow.
And then I thought, like a while back that I was going to put them out. So I might do that this year. So I got to go through. I just got to finish mixing my record first. This one. Of
course.
So I can and get it mastered, so I can't go back and tweak anything and then move on to the next thing. I think I'm actually going to maybe put out a thing. But if anybody will like it, I don't know. If you heard my past records, there's usually at least 1 or 2 acoustic instrumentals on each record that I've done. So I have a bunch more tracks. So I actually might do that. And I actually, like years ago, I did an acoustic tour with these other acoustic artists. Like I was just one of the people on the bill. I wasn't a headliner or anything. And we did a bunch of the house blues. We did the Hard Rock Cafe, like up the coast, San Diego, through California and stuff. There was like 6 of them. And I thought, I think that'd be like, I could take a couple acoustic guitars and just play. It'll be the easiest thing ever. That was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Yeah, because a guy like me that's not a musician or nothing, never played the guitar or anything. Typically, you think, acoustic is just a guitar that you don't plug in. But I've heard from several people that told me the same thing, that playing acoustic is a lot harder than playing an electric guitar.
Well, it wasn't necessarily hard. Just playing acoustic live where it has to be loud, like controlling the feedback problem.
Yeah.
Logistical nightmare. And I was stupid. I thought, I'd take a couple of guitars and get it out of school and let it rock out.
Yeah.
It was anything but that. Like I was ready to kill myself at the end of that tour.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what most people typically think. It's just a guy sitting on a stool. That's all it is. But there's much more.
You turn a certain way to start being back, and you got to be positioned right on the. And God, that's what do that all the time, have it under control. It gave me a whole new level of respect for him. Especially like I even told back then, I know Craig Chiquito, and that's what he does. And I actually, I told him that, I'm like, dude, I don't know how you do it, man. But I got a respect for you. He started laughing. That was funny.
Yeah, and now, so as far as these acoustic songs you've recorded, I was curious, if you were to put out like an acoustic CD or something like that down the line, would these be like Ronny North tunes we've already heard, but just like acoustical versions or all new songs?
No, they're completely different songs.
Oh, cool. I like that. See,
completely different songs. I know we kind of thought about that too, and I was actually that's funny you mentioned that. I actually might. Maybe I'll put them on the record. I think if we do acoustic shows in the future, which who knows, it might happen, it might not happen. We will do some unplugged versions. I have in the past, like where we tend to do like an unplugged at the record store.
Yeah, I almost
like acoustic versions of my heavy songs.
Yeah.
That's kind of hard too, like reinterpreting your own song and figuring out stuff you can't do on the acoustic guitar, with the electric guitar with wild stuff. So that's always interesting. So I'll probably do a combination of both. I was just
going to say that'd be a pretty cool idea, where maybe you record some new stuff and maybe record some, some of your past.
Yeah.
And that way people are getting a little bit new versions of old songs and a little something extra,
Well, you know what, dude? If I do that, you're going to be the first to hear it. Like, I'm going to let you have the secret. You're right on the ground floor. And the beauty of the whole thing is, I have my own recording studio, so I can do it anytime.
Well, that's pretty cool. Now, now you're mentioning the LA Kiss, and you're a season ticket holder. So again,
ever since the first season, this is the third season now.
And again, see, this is one thing I love about Kiss. I mean, Kiss is so much more than music. I mean, who would think that there would be an arena football team owned by a rock band? I mean, and even everything they do, I've heard. They put on stunt shows and things before the shows. They've had, like, I know Steel Panther, even Lemmy I think came out and did a.
Yeah, they have bands playing at halftime, like often than not.
Yeah, and it's just such a cool.
Cool. I wish they would win more.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That like I really don't know much about sports at all, but I have a laugh. It's like going to a tractor pull or something.
Yeah.
Pull something going on. Like, it's fun. I mean, if they win or lose, it's still fun. The people there are fun. They're Kids fans, and it's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, because I'm typically not like a major sports fan or anything, but I would go to something like that because it's like the circus is coming to town. It's more than a football game.
It's totally like that.
Yeah.
Totally. And they have special events and stuff, and that's the first time I've had tickets to any sporting event in my life ever.
Wow. Do you think there's ever a chance that you might get the opportunity to perform at one of the shows?
Well, funny you mentioned that. I'll have to let you know about that.
Okay, we'll just say maybe down the line. I would love to see that.
There might or might not have been a conversation with those people in the last few weeks. So I can't really elaborate yet, 'cause I don't even know.
Well, I'll just kind of read between the lines, as they say. But
I had a conversation with them like last year. Like we were at some events that they were having some bands, and I met they had some serious speakers. We were chatting, and it's my people were chatting again with them like a couple weeks ago, but who knows? I mean, they were talking, so I still don't even know where that ended up. But I would love to. I mean, they do have local bands playing at the thing, so.
And so, let me ask you, Ronny, how long has it been since you played a show recently?
3 weeks.
Oh, okay. So you've been out there. That's.
I did. I played. It's called the Marrow in San Diego.
Oh, okay.
With my friend Ted Shark, RDG, and another San Diego guitar player. It was like it was a whole night of instrumental music. It was their show. They put me on the bill. That was fun. It was always fun playing with these people, like my friends, and then people that do the same thing that I do.
And let me ask. Wow. Let me ask you.
Did you know what Kill Me is?
What?
I played. It was Valentine's Day weekend, so I played that on Saturday night, and then Sunday morning I played the LA Marathon. So I think it was like the 13th time.
Oh wow.
So I got home from San Diego at 2:00 in the morning, and I had to be on set the LA Marathon at 5:00 in the morning.
Oh my God, I don't know how you even did that.
That almost killed me, dude. Like as you get older, that does not work.
Yeah.
And then go to Valentine's, dinner with my then girlfriend. Well, I don't have a girlfriend anymore. With a girlfriend. After that, so I literally almost died that weekend.
Oh wow. And so when you go to the LA Kiss games, like, do you just go in your regular gear? Do you ever get dressed up or anything like that?
See, that's the thing. Like, as quick of a fan as I've been, like, you're asking a lot of questions. Like, seriously, I've never dressed up like this.
That's the last thing I was going to ask you. Have you ever dressed up like any of the Kiss guys for, like...
Funny thing, like, I have a friend, in San Diego who has a very, very, very popular Kiss tribute band. Like, they do the whole show.
Yeah.
Affect Kiss, and they got the money playing all these venues. And they've asked me several times to be their ace. As much as Kiss, like, that's just not me.
Yeah.
No offense to what they do, but I don't want to be somebody else. It's hard enough being me, you know what I mean? And no disrespect to anybody who does that.
Yeah.
It's not and he understood. I think we talked about it.
Yeah. And the cool thing.
Like, I've actually opened shows for them before, and I've actually played with them before. Like, they let me not be and make us play. We played Cool Gin. We've done this a few times.
Yeah.
I got up there. It was a fucking blast. Playing songs. And I actually I did this NAMM Jam thing for NAMM like a couple months ago with the guitar player Grim Reaper, like Dick Boycott.
Oh, okay.
And we did we did 2 classic Kiss songs. It was so much fucking fun.
And so let me ask, like, when you do something like that and get up and play a Kiss song, do you play the song like note for note the way like Ace would play it, or do you kind of?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I tried to. I mean, and that being said, like, I had to play. Like, I actually had to learn the songs again. They don't. I'm so involved in what I do. Like, I don't really, even though I grew up, the kids playing Kiss songs. Like, I haven't played that stuff since I was a kid.
Yeah.
So I actually had to go back to, listening to the CD and picking the parts off the thing, which, you know, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
You have to do it right. But I mean, it was so much fucking fun.
Yeah, and being the huge Kiss Ace fan you are, how excited are you about this new covers album he's putting out?
See, I don't know, like, why is he doing that?
Well, from what I've heard, supposedly it's a record company thing. They wanted him to do it. But kind of what interests me is a couple of the tracks he chose, like he's doing a couple of Kiss tunes over like Cold Gin, I guess.
Alley's on one of the tracks with him.
Who's that? Oh yeah.
Alley's like on one of the tracks.
Yeah, I've heard that's a song is Fire and Water, which was originally done by Free, and then he's redoing. I heard that it was between that or like My Generation, which I think would have been a better choice, but I don't know. I haven't heard the track yet.
I'm not a big fan of covers records. Like a lot of people seem to be doing that these days. Like I don't know. Put out some new music.
Yeah, what's kind of interesting, about the Kiss songs he's redoing. Okay, he's redoing Cold Gin, which I kind of understand because that's a song he originally.
What? He's doing like a Kiss song that he's not even on in the first place, right?
Yeah, Rock and Roll Hell, which is off of Creatures of the Night, which he didn't even play on. Which I heard somebody ask him in an interview the other night, and he was.
Who played on it? You know which guitar player is on that one? I mean, I know some features, but
I think I'm not sure, but I think it might have been Vinny.
That's really bizarre.
Yeah, and you know what's even more bizarre that you may or may not know, like on the original Vinnie Vincent Invasion album from 1986, he had a
to this day, one of my favorite records.
Yeah, he had there's a song Back on the Streets, which him and Robert Flashman like did a little vocal duet. That was originally a tune that he submitted for Creatures, and then oddly enough, I heard Ace was doing the same song live, like when he was first started doing his solo thing again in 1985. So that's kind of interesting. And then Vinnie Vincent also co-wrote that song "Tears" that Peter Criss did and John Waite. I don't know if you ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Ace is in his own galaxy.
Yeah.
Do you go see him when he does the solo shows or when he comes to LA?
I didn't get a chance to see this last time, but I've seen him before.
Yeah, I missed one. He was just here a few weeks ago. Like I actually missed that one.
Yeah, I mean a lot of people told me that recently seen him. They said the only complaint they had was that like it's mostly the set's mostly like Kiss stuff, and a lot of it is even like Love Gun and stuff he didn't originally sing or anything. And it's like
no, it pretty much is, man. He did when I saw him at the House of Blues like last year, I think, or during the summertime or whatever, like in July or August, whatever this year. And it was like 80% Kiss material.
And this guy was telling me the other day who's seen it when he was in Beverly Hills, I think, a couple weeks ago. He said, it was a great show. He said it was a great rock show and everything, but he played a lot of his stuff that he didn't even originally sing. I would have preferred him to like maybe put in some of Fraley's Comet stuff or something off of Trouble Walking or some of his.
Yeah, I wouldn't be very much of a fan of the Fraley's Comet stuff. I mean, it was, I don't know, it was weird. I mean, I loved it at days, but he does like rock and roll.
Yeah.
He does that live. I mean, I never really liked. I mean, but like the first solo record, when they put out the solo, I mean that's genius.
Yeah. And again, it's kind of odd that of all those solo albums, Ace has sold the best.
Oh, it is. Yeah, no, yeah, totally. I mean, it was. The Paul's a close friend. Yeah. Paul comes with his record. Yeah,
and then oddly enough, like you say, Ace is a lot of times in his own little world. That's why, like, okay, that first hit song he had, New York Groove, that was written by this guy Russ Ballard. And then if you look on the Fraley's Comet album, that's the same guy that wrote the song Into the Night. And so he thought, I had a hit with one of his songs before. I'll see if I can have a hit with another one of his songs.
Connected with that writer. Yeah. It's really funny too. Like years ago, we did this benefit for something. We were on this benefit record, and I covered Rocket Ride.
Oh, okay. Wow, I gotta check that out.
I don't know about that. You just mentioned it. Like, and I recorded it with it had vocals on it, and then my good friend Neil Sherman sang the lead vocals on it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's a guy in the Death Riders. Used to be the original singer for Anthrax.
He's the original Anthrax singer. Yeah. He's on the first Anthrax record that fits full of metal.
Yeah. Wow. Well, Ronny, I want to thank you so much for taking time to talk to me today. It's really been fun as always talking to you. And it's not gonna be. I'm not gonna let it be so long next time because now you tell me you're working on some new music. now you tell me you're working on some new music. Once that CD drops, I'm gonna call you about doing an interview.
No, I am me your email, and I'll send you the new single like tonight.
Oh, great. Okay, great. And I can review it for you.
Yeah, and you're my friend. I like to know what you think. We actually just shot the video for it last weekend.
Oh, where did you shoot the video at?
The desert in Palm Springs, and then I don't know if you've ever been to Palm Springs, but they have this giant nightclub called Zelda's.
Oh, I've never been there, but no. Okay, we'll definitely have to check it.
It's huge. It looks like I just compared it to like Studio 54. It kind of looks like that. My friend owned it, and he let me shoot in there. We shot in there during the day before they were open, so with all the lasers and the lights, it looks crazy. Wow.
And any idea when will the video be coming out before the album or anything?
Yeah. I'm planning to put the video out probably sometime in April. So, I mean, we're gonna start editing it this week. Like footage. We're gonna put it all in the editing bay and let the person who's editing it. Together. I mean, the footage that I saw, like I've seen the raw footage, the other day, and we got some cool stuff. It's strange.
Wow.
It's gonna look cool.
I can't wait to see it. Well,
that's an adventure. Making videos in a whole other world.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, Ronny, definitely when the new CD hits, you and me will be talking again to get the word out about that. But this has been Destroyer 40. Thank you to Ronny North for talking to us today. My good friend Ronny, you take...
having me on there, man. I love it. Especially for kids that can talk about Destroyer at any time.
Oh, yeah. So before we end this, though, Ronny, I just got to ask, if it's even humanly possible, can you pick a favorite track off of Destroyer?
I say King of the Nighttime World.
Oh, you can't go wrong with that. That or Flamin' Youth. Those are two of my favorite tracks.
Flamin' Youth is a close one. Yeah, I mean, it's like you turn on City's the Obvious.
Yeah.
And I heard Shout It Out Loud a million times.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like Shout It Out Loud is kind of like, to me, Rock and Roll All Night Part 2.
And what was really weird is when I first got record for Christmas, for some reason, like, I like to test, and I hate ballads, even to this day. You know what I mean? I used to play that a lot, too, and I always been still to this day, like, I don't know why I used to listen to that a lot, too. Like, something with that, like, resonated to me for some reason.
Well, it's kind of funny, because Beth is one of those songs, like, it's not a syrupy ballad. I mean, like, I would much rather...
It sounds absolutely like nothing on the record. Like, it doesn't sound anything like his at all. Like, there's an orchestra and a guy singing, like, there's no guitars on it.
And then that's why it kind of stands out. I mean, and let me ask you, when you seen Kiss live on that tour, a few months after the album came out, did he perform that live, and did he do his thing where he comes out with a rose and?
He did. He played to the track. He did. He sets on a school to middle of stage.
Yeah.
So I've seen Peter. Well, I saw him do it then, and I saw him do it. I've seen Kids in '77. I saw him in '80, and then I've seen him a bunch. I saw the reunion years too. That's a few times. But I saw him 3 times last year. Like, that's not. If you don't have original guys, it's not really the same thing.
Yeah, well, I gotta say, like, I seen them on the last 2 tours. One with they did with Motley Crue, and the one with Def Leppard. And I'll say this at least. Both times I felt like, okay, I got my money's worth because I got 2 great bands, and the great thing was they were both like headlining sets.
Yeah, no, I saw that. I saw 3 shows on that tour, and it was actually really good. And I'm not, I'm a Def Leppard fan, but I'm like a huge. I'm not like Kids. I just like Def Leppard.
Yeah.
And I mean, they had a really powerful set with just the hits, man. Both of them, they both just killed it. Like, you never see 2 bands, like you said, doing headlining sets.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, as far as Def Leppard, like, if you get their latest album that just recently came out, it's a lot closer to Hysteria than some of their more recent stuff. They're trying to go back, I guess, to being kind of a rock band. Some of their stuff before.
Yeah, they're about heavier live than they are.
Yeah.
You hear on the radio, for sure.
Well,
more guitar. Did you see that band that opened for the 2 bands? Did you see the band with the girl singer?
Yeah, it's called. I can't even think. It's called something in the Lotus. But yeah, they were all right. I think they were a band from, if I remember, Canada or something.
Yeah, I think like Australia or Canada, like some other country, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think they're kind of weird. I mean, I'm not to say they were cool.
Well, they stood out to me that way, and that I mean, they were all right for what they were, but I did think they could have got a better band open for Motley Crue and Kiss.
I think it'd be big Exactly.
Yeah.
Nice way of putting it, David.
Yeah.
Exactly what I meant.
Well, my friend, once again, Ronny North, thanks for taking time to do this. I'll let you know in a few weeks when it goes up, but we'll definitely be in touch, my friend, and good luck with everything you're working on, and we'll be talking to you real soon. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Everybody, go check out RonnyNorth.com. You want to know more about me, and buy the record when it comes out.
We will. Support local talent, my friends, like Ronny North. He's a true legend in his own right. Take care. Bye-bye.